guys, it's Carmelina here with the Man Cave Hobby Show, and actually it's kind of a collaboration with our Airsoft team, TROD or TROD or Team Rush or Die or whatever you decide to call us. I'm working with Mr. Hunter West, Mr. Ron Johnson here today. As I always say, greatly appreciate you guys coming in today. I think I say that probably about 17 times per episode. But this episode is kind of special for me, just because we're talking about airsoft, one of my big hobbies, just like racing. We're going to be talking about something that's really close, something I do pretty much every other weekend to every weekend, something I spend a lot of time, money, effort, and hours into, and so have these guys. So we're getting ready to start off the episode with something simple, kind of get you guys all warmed up, shaken up, get the vocals rolling. How did you guys get started? We'll start off with Hunter. How'd you get started in an airsoft?
Well, first thing I'm going to go ahead and add to this talk show is my vocals are always warmed up, so keep that in mind. How did I get started into airsoft is a very good question. About 10 or 11 years ago, I started out with paintball, playing speedball, woods ball, local. Battle Cat Sports, which is a local field here, popped up, and this new airsoft thing come up, so I was like, cool. So anyways, I'm 10, 11 years old, playing airsoft. Joined airsoft because it was a lot more realistic looking. The guns look real. The whole theory of being able to dress up like a military guy, from playing with G.I. Joes when you're a kid, all of us boys do that. So anyways, I started with airsoft, and 10 or 11 years later, here I am today.
What about you, Ron? How'd you get started?
Probably started when I was real young, probably like 6 or 7, when Battle Cat was in the mall. I saw the guns in there, and, I really liked the way they looked, and saw that you could shoot other people with them. But my parents never really was going to allow that. So probably, 5 or 6 years later, Battle Cat got their arena or whatever. And I had a birthday party there. Had a lot of fun. Bought a mask that day.
Birthday party, how old were you?
10 or 11?
Golly.
And, yeah, it was pretty fun. And then probably another couple of years later, I finally bought my first gun. From there.
What was it?
It was a Echo 1 AK.
Okay.
God, mine was an Echo 1 G36.
That's like really all they had there, though, was the Echo 1 stuff.
Mine was the Echo 1 MP5. I forget what the MP5A. It wasn't the MP5K. It was the normal MP5, but it was a special edition version that supposedly they don't sell anymore. But I think Echo 1 was around when we all got started, which I think was about the same time frame when we got started. Echo 1 was kind of the top dog around that time.
Yeah, Echo 1, everything you saw was Echo 1 this, Echo 1 that, and nowadays it's like, who is Echo 1? It's crazy to see. Even back then, what was it? Who comes out with the TK Ronins and all that?
Oh,
KWA,
yeah.
KWA, they was big back then, and then they disappeared for a while, and look at them now, they're right back where they started.
Well, I got started. My uncle had a buddy who was playing airsoft. Him and his 2 kids were playing airsoft, and me and my cousin, he got us into it. We both got the same exact gun. My cousin ended up getting a sniper rifle, the one that's usually on the wall that everybody buys. The
cheap one was like $80 or whatever.
I think so, like maybe right at 100.
Like ASG1 or something like that.
Something like that. But that's what he ended up getting, which I thought was the dumbest thing in the world. But that's how we got started. We did it for about 2 or 3 years. I remember my uncle dumping, oh my gosh, he probably had about $800 and $800, maybe $1,000 in his G36 that he had, and it kept crapping on him. This is the days of the fuses, where he had the glass fuses in the gun. So he kept breaking his, but we still kept going, had a great time. And then when I went to end of high school, when I graduated, especially into college, kind of got away from it. Didn't play much of it. I ended up selling my MP5, and same thing with my cousin, and haven't played for a while until you and Josh were actually mainly Josh was playing, and then I think he got me into it, and then I met you guys, and we kind of started rolling from there. I actually wanted to get so it's kind of down my list, but I'd like to jump to it. So we are a Speedsoft team. We play Speed QB specifically. We do a little bit of Milsim as well, do some outdoors, but mainly our gist is mainly Speed QB. And for the TROD guys, we wanted to get Anderson. The main place we play at is in Georgia, called AIrsoft. But we were trying to get the local field, Battle Cat Sports, to kind of bring on the Speed QB aspect and do some speed soft stuff like that. So we teamed up with them about 2 years ago, I think is what it was, and kind of started presenting Speak QB as a thing, and this is before Ron was a part of the team, and that's where my question leads into is we hosted a it was a free event thanks to BattleCat, free event, but we hosted a come try out Speak QB, and we had a lot of kids come out, a few adults come out, and even some people down from SS even came up and tried it out. But that was the first time we met you. What got you to come out and join Speak QB? Is that something you always were doing?
To be honest with you, I don't even know how I even found out about Speak QB. I can't remember. Maybe some YouTube videos or something. But I just know they started selling the Speak QB gear, and I bought some of it, and then I found out about the event, so I just showed up since it was free.
Man, I would have came up with some kind of lie. I'd have gave an elaborate story. I just want you to know you just gave the most boring explanation.
I mean, that's
you
what
could have
happened,
gave.
though. I really didn't know about Speak QB until, they hosted that event or was talking about the event.
I mean, I guess that's good because that was the whole point of the event, anyways, was to bring more people in. Come to find out, throughout that year, the people that started showing up were locals, but come to find out that local in Anderson is a lot of young kids who didn't seem like you could make a team, but it was still a bunch of kids, and not a lot of people could hold a team. So we didn't have a lot of teams going up. So we ended up just sticking with SS. But that was when we brought on Ron. He played against us. Well, what's your thoughts?
All right, so my thoughts is a true statement. I'm not. Mine's not boring. I will give the audience what they want to hear. First time I met Ron, biggest cheater I ever met in my life.
I didn't want to say it, but that's 100% true.
So-
My wife rarely comes to these events just because it's mainly because where we play, mainly in the facility, there's not a lot of spectators. I do have a young daughter, and she can't really bring her to these events either. So my wife would come to these events here and there, and that was one of the events she came to, and even she said, "Who is that guy down there? He ain't calling crap."
Well, see, my experience was first person. Ron, my man, was posted up on a Dorito, had his nice booty hanging out behind that Dorito, had my high kappa, dumped 30-something rounds in it, wasn't calling it. I was even looking at the ref, yelling at this ref, which is Kyle. I was like, Kyle, look, man, this dude is not calling his hits. Kyle's like, man, I can't even see it. So we just had to roll with it. So I finally thought he called it, ran past him, he shot me, hated Ron. Like 2 weeks later, love Ron.
He where he was getting hit, I will say, especially and that was in the dump pouch in the back, that you can't really feel stuff like that. But what's your thoughts, Ron? Were you just in the moment, as they say?
I didn't feel a thing.
Are you trying to spark up a feud right here? Because if you are, it's working. It's working. I'm boiling.
That's what I hear, because right now we're left with the cliffhanger of Ron's a cheater. He's on our team. What's the deal? Is he the best cheater that there is?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I didn't feel a thing, by the way. Only person I remember trading with was Zane. I don't think I traded with him, but he shot me from a Dorito because I got too confident in my playing skills. But I don't remember getting hit. I didn't feel like I got hit. I don't know.
I'm just saying, we got on footage.
Maybe it's just one of them things. I mean, bring that footage here. We can look at it. You know what I'm saying?
That might be something we have to bring up. Take a look at the old times. So we kind of got what you started. Now I want to. These are a lot of this or that, or this versus that, because I really would like to know what your guys' thoughts are on it. But indoors or outdoors? Why? Yeah, that's always a debate. It kind of goes side by side with Speedsoft versus Milsom, but kind of more generalized. What do you prefer, indoors or outdoors? Do you rather have the constant battle, back and forth, constant gameplay, or do you like more of the? I feel like there's more strategy with Milsom, but it's a lot longer, slower paced games. What do you guys prefer?
Me personally, I would be 50-50 with it, leaning more towards, or maybe 60-40, leaning more towards outdoor. But as of right now, outdoor is my thing because I'm kind of burnt out with the only 2 fields that I've played at in my life. So 2 indoor fields. So it kind of sucks that we don't really have that big a variety of indoor fields. But I feel like if we had more indoor fields to play at, I'd probably be, more split down the middle.
What about you?
I'll be honest, man. I'm 50-50 hard. When we play Speak QB, I love it because I'm playing with all you guys. Where we're grinding as a team, we're growing as a team, we're falling as a team. I enjoy that aspect. I love the constant action. It's just, and I don't know. It's just something about the rush you get when you're playing Speed QB. I love it. But the flip side is I don't get any as much satisfaction when I kill somebody indoor versus outdoor. When we play outdoor, the flip side of the indoor is the complete opposite outdoor. It's usually me and Ron running together, and literally everybody else, like Will and everyone else, is just out doing their thing because me and Ron play the sniper role. So it's just me and him. We're off a mile deep in the woods, have no idea where we're at, and we're just going the best we can, trying to get in behind or, get Overwatch and all that. But when you do shoot somebody with a sniper and you see that one ball through the scope, smack that person, and they're so confused on where it come, that is pure satisfaction.
I haven't done as much outdoor stuff as you guys. Actually, how I got started was doing outdoors, but for the most part, ever since I got restarted, I did a lot of indoor stuff, so not much outdoors. But I think I would go 50-50, believe it or not. And again, even that's with me not playing much outdoors. I love indoors, and actually, the really only reason I like indoors is SpeedQB. I love SpeedQB, or SpeedSoft in general, mainly the SpeedQB series. But that's really, I truly love it. I love the 5-on-5 action that SpeedQB brings, and I think that's really the only thing that really brings me back to the indoors. Obviously, the lack of getting soaked and usually getting burnt up in the sun is always a big bonus.
Or walking in water in a creek and not having waterproof boots.
Yep, that's always nice. But I think, but outdoors, like you said, that all that work. I remember taking it back into racing. Whenever I did anything with racing, was we did all this work Monday through Friday to get this car ready. Spend hours and hours and hours, and then if you win a race or even do well in a race, that all that satisfaction's there. You get excited of, I accomplished something. All that work was for something good. And that's where I feel like Milsim and outdoors is you go through all that work in your gun setup and everything like that, and you make that kill, especially that one ball shot with the sniper rifle and everything like that. It's so much satisfaction from doing that. Where indoor, it's just fast paced. That one kill is great, but it doesn't bring as much satisfaction compared to at Milsim. So I will say it's a good 50-50 on that for me, but I can definitely see both sides of it. So I guess the one big question everybody talks about, and kind of leaning the same question, is SpeedQB versus Milsim. Do you think SpeedQB can... Well, what's your thoughts on both sides of it? And do you think that SpeedQB can play Milsim and Milsim can play SpeedQB, or...
Absolutely. I mean, I started out when I was playing Airsoft, I was Milsim 100%. I was a walking, talking G.I. Joe. I ain't gonna lie. But I wasn't like a lot of the other guys. I was a lot faster paced. I wasn't as like, let's breach this room and clear it. I've never been into that. But then, when Speed QB could become a thing, I was like, wow, that's me. So I started switched over. I don't wear all the gear anymore. I'm not your stereotypical, speed softer when I dress. I just dress what's comfortable for me and what's lightweight for me when I play indoor, because I don't need 50 mags. Well, we're playing public play. I don't need all the mags. I don't need all this gear. I don't need a hydration pack. I don't need all that. So I dress, what's comfortable for me. But, even from like me and Ron doing a lot of the outdoor still, we go from a full-fledged Speed QB mindset, the way we dress, the way we play, the gun setups. We transfer over to Milsim and play Milsim and have a grand time with those guys. So I think you could easily go both ways.
What's your thoughts?
I'm 50-50. I mean, they're both pretty good. I like Speed QB a lot. It's very competitive. I like that, competitive spirit that everybody brings. Milsim, it's just relaxing. It's not as, fast paced. You don't get burnt out as easily. I don't know, it's just, they're both good, so.
I would say I'm more on the SpeedQB side. I do like outdoors. I like the strategy behind outdoors, and even, believe it or not, the slower pace of it, that getting that relaxation. It's just not like bang 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 all the time. But I say you can do both. I think, to be honest with you, I think we're going to say a mediocre Speedsoft team, maybe even on the newer side. I don't think could go to Milsim and do well. But I do think a mediocre to weak Milsim guy who at least gets the idea on communication and teamwork can come over to the SpeedQB world, because they're already trained for that. SpeedQB people starting off kind of have the mindset when you're starting off, mindset of this is my job, this is what I need to do. I kill everybody. Where in Milsim, you really don't rely on killing everybody yourself. You really rely on working as a team. So with that aspect, jumping over to Speed QB, I think is a little bit easier for a Milsim guy to go to Speed QB. Now, I do think, like you said, when you become very good at Speed QB, can compete against the top guys in Speed QB, then going to the Milsim sides, you get the idea on T-work. You get the idea on playing by yourself, but you also get the idea of, I need this guy to make this job, and I can help him out. And that, I think, can transition both ways. But I do think Milsim, a starter Milsim compared to a starter Speed QB can come over here, but I don't think as well can go on that side.
I think, on that, I'll add to that a little bit. When you play like me and Ron do, when you go to outdoors, you're playing a lot of roles. You got your medics, you got your gunners, you got your, support crew, you got the snipers. Depending on what role you pick, like mine and Ron's, honestly, we just work with each other. Now, that's not the correct way, I'll say, but we don't go to the big, Milsim events. We just go play like the outdoor fields and stuff. So, it's not as like vital, but for the most part, me and Ron work together only when we go there. Now, if we was at a big Milsim event, obviously our job's not as much of killing. It's more of like providing overwatch, intel. Hey, these guys are here. They're moving this way, coming on you, blah, blah, blah. So I think if a Speed QB guy, depending on what role they went into on Milsim, I honestly think they could do it. I'm serious. It depends on what role, but a lot of people, Speed QB people, don't understand when you go to Milsim, there is roles. And that part is kind of hard to get into.
And again, new Speed QB, because like I
Right.
said, once you get the real concept of Speed QB, again, Speed Soft, Speed QB specifically, but you get the real concept of everybody's role, job, communication, then it's so easy to transition. But if you're talking about a brand new Speed QB guy where they don't understand that concept,
Look, man, brand new Speed QB people are almost cancerous. I'm not even going to lie. Especially at our local field, they think Speed Soft is not Speed QB. They think it's just play in a public field, run as fast as you can and shoot your gun as fast as you can and hit people as much as you can. That's not it.
No.
It's like, I see teams even local here claiming Speed QB. They are a Speed QB team. I have never seen them on a Speed QB field.
yeah.
So how are you a Speed QB team? Mm-hmm. That little things like that makes absolutely no sense. And I think a lot of people, local and far stretched even, miss that concept. Mm. So.
Yeah, I do agree that that was the one problem when we were talking about in the beginning, that when we started that little practice facility and we ran a whole year of doing Speed QB official series events, that the smaller teams, the new teams, are really struggling on communication, struggling on getting kills, struggling on movement, and it was all because the only thing they were worried about is how fast can I shoot my gun, and how fast can I run, and it's a lot bigger than that.
Exactly.
So that leads into the next. Well, I guess leads into the next question. I wanted to get to AEG versus HBA, and it kind of lead into. I want to ask, what do you think you need? But we'll start off with, what's your decision, AEG or HBA? If you had one gun for the rest of your life, AEG, HBA. And we're gonna go make it specific because I know these guys, different scenarios, different guns. We're gonna go with a regular assault rifle.
Okay. What are we playing? Are we playing Milsim? Are we playing?
You get
Speed
one
QB?
gun.
Okay, so something that's universal on both. Mm-hmm. HBA, 100%.
It depends on, really, HPA. If I had an unlimited budget, it'd be
Yeah.
HPA.
So I think that's kind of the big thing is, I didn't say anything about a budget, and I do agree. I think HBA is the best way of going. I would say a year ago, we got Wolverines. We all, four of our team players have Wolverines. At one point in time, our whole team had Wolverine guns, but about four of our members now have MTWs, so we're big Wolverine guys. But a year ago, I would have not said Wolverine. I even have bought it, and I still wouldn't have said Wolverine. But if you get Polar Star, you're in the money, you're in the gold, and I definitely say HPA. Now that's came along in the last couple months since they've done all these updates. Now I think you can run with either one for sure. But if you have unlimited budget, definitely HBA because it's reliable for the most part as long as you take care of it. Reliable, and you can basically shoot it anywhere and adjust it.
Exactly, unless your local field doesn't allow HPA, but that's
That
a
would probably
different
be. I was
subject.
gonna say that would probably be the only stipulation is if your local team does not, you really don't have much of an option, because there's a lot of things with HBA because you can. It's so easy to use and to tamper with because you can turn it up, turn it down, and everything like that. That local fields are just scared of it. That they don't want to deal with any type of problems or situations. So they just stick with the AEG because they know that that's a lot harder to change. What's crazy is now guns are getting almost easier and easier. There's not a lot, but there is a good few that you can change out a spring in five to 10 minutes, and that's there's your power right there. But okay, so now next one, pistol versus rifle. If you we're gonna go with Speed QB on this one because Milsom obviously you're not gonna want to stick with a pistol the whole time at Milsom, but Speed QB pistol, rifle, and I didn't say you have to be a backline player, frontline player. I just said pistol, rifle, one
I
gun.
I could go either way, but for I know how this conversation's gonna go with my buddy over here next to me, I'll say pistol. I've always pretty much been a pistol player in Speed QB up until this past season because we had to make a few changes for the team. But I will say my pistols, my high capas, primarily my Glocks, they are green gas ran, except for my high capas ran HPA. But I would say pistol. When you're playing Speed QB, especially on our field, it's small, short barriers are close. They're very small, so it's super easy if you take a pistol and move barrier to barrier. And honestly, if you build your pistols right, you can make them just as accurate as a rifle. And the flip side to it is you can also make them super gas efficient and also shoot hard. It's like my Glock on green gas right now is shooting 365. Field limit's 400, and with a pistol, that's more than enough. And that's humping 2.5s. So I would say I like pistol and also like the aggressiveness it allows, versus a rifle. But I can go either way.
What you're on?
If we're in the U.S., pistol. If we're in Europe, rifle.
I didn't think about that, but that's big, and I do agree. I would choose rifle either way. I mean, yes, I'll say that pistols in the fields that we run local are, I think, as accurate to more accurate than a rifle. In the fields that we're running, I think if you start going to California or the bigger fields, especially going to overseas like you're talking about, I don't think pistol at all. California, I think, is a mix. I think that you can run a pistol really, really well. Especially, I think they have a lot more areas to go through as much as around. Like I've seen them go under barriers and stuff like that. So I think that in California, pistols are still something. If you had one gun, this is what we're talking about, is one gun. I think pistols would still be okay. It's kind of 50-50. But overseas, I don't know. I think that facility is so big
I
that
don't think it's guns overseas, man. I've watched a lot of those videos. I think a lot of it even boils down to the player. The player plays a huge part, and the gun plays a decent amount, but the player plays a big part. We've seen it firsthand on our team. Guys that are rifle players pick up a pistol and find out it's not easy. So if you're conditioned on the front line and moving barriers to barriers, you got the head on it. You got your head on your shoulders. You know what you're doing. You're comfortable up there. I think even Europe, you could definitely present a super super dominant force up front.
Gotcha. I've seen have you seen these airsoft guns that are paintball guns but humping
one.
airsoft guns?
I want one.
Dude,
They're nice.
that's crazy.
But expensive
It's
to
got an
build, though.
actual paintball canister up top, and they're dumping BBs
I
in.
haven't seen them like that though.
I've seen it looks 100% like a paintball gun, lobbing BBs, and they are humming about 20. I'd say 25 rounds a second.
I think if you're playing airsoft, you shouldn't be doing that. Personally, I feel like if you're wanting to do that, go play paintball.
I agree, 100%. I think the whole point is to have a realistic gun. I think all these guns getting to like a paintball style. So the SSG-1, I think that's the gun by G&G.
You guys got the drop stock.
Drop stock and all that. Drop stocks, I do think is big, and I 100% agree with that. The whole barrel end, they're leaning more towards Speed QB or Spacesoft. Like, hey, if you want to play this, here's the perfect gun for you, which is cool and great, and most people make that adjustment anyways. But I feel like you're getting out of the aspect of airsoft. It's my opinion, is what it is.
Look at a lot of even the speed soft guys get ups like guns and stuff. I mean, they're not realistic whatsoever. You know, like I'm guilty of it. You know, like even the tap airsoft. You know, they're carbon fiber outer barrels. You're not gonna run that on a real steel. But in Speed QB, you know, making the guns light and as fast as you can. You know, those things that's where it's at, man. I mean, you know, the unrealistic is a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's costly, but you know, I think it's a lot of it boils into, you know, as long as, in my opinion, as long as your gun is mag fed and not hopper fed like a paintball gun, I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
You know, so
Agreed.
But in the milsim world, it's not as accepted.
Speaking of that, because it's not on my list, but I wanted to ask, what's your thoughts on pistol players being able to use M4 mags?
In Speed QB, personally, I think takes a lot of the challenge out. You know, because a pistol player, you know, when they're running mag fed, you know, pistol mags, you know, you actually have to count your shots. Like I can't, you know, when I was playing up front all the time with the 6-inch, you know, I couldn't just dump my mags. I had to count my shots, make them count. Whereas if you're running the tap or primary airsoft adapter on there, I mean, you got 150 rounds depending on, you know, which mid cap you decide to run. I mean, or a high cap, you know, you can literally sit there and just dump them. You know what I'm saying? So I think it takes out a lot of the challenge, personally, in my opinion.
Agreed. And I'm glad you said it as a pistol player, because as a rifle, I mean, I don't know the issues of having limited BBs for the most part. I mean, we carry 8 mags at 150 rounds a mag. I mean, and we're just throwing them where that was the one big thing about the pistol player was always about he has to take specific shots. But when you throw an M4 mag in there, yeah, it's still specific shots because he still has to stay low. He still has to be precise, but he can just keep humming. But what's your thoughts?
As long as it's in the rules, I'm gonna do it. I have one. It's nice. It's nice being able to, you know, lay down not as much fire as a rifle player, but being able to get up front and, you know, lay down fire if you have to. Plus, I mean, you don't have to do mag changes. There's no, you know, disconnecting the line from the mag, taking the mag out, putting it back in. You know,
That's why you run green gas, fool.
you know that. But I mean,
That's
I don't know.
crazy.
It's just I don't know. Like,
You know, that's crazy. This is going off subject for just a very quick second. But think about it. When we first started playing Speed QB, the hot thing was HPA pistol.
Yep.
And in the last, year almost, it's
moving over to
forget
green gas.
HPA.
Yeah.
Let's go back to green gas. And on my high kappas, no, I'm sticking with HPA. But on my Glock, I'm not touching HPA with it. It's on the gas consistency, no. And it's so much nicer. I mean, you know, when you're playing, I used to tell all my guys, you know, when you're playing a pistol player, you know, if you hear him disconnect that line, jump on him. Versus when I'm using my Glock, you're not going to hear me disconnect my line. That loud, tss, I mean, it's just not there. So, I don't know. Sorry, I had to rant for that for a second. I just thought it was weird.
I'm okay with it because I don't. It's back in the day. I think Speed QB was all about you had to have an HBA gun, and you had to have a built one too. You couldn't just have a regular HBA gun. But like all these people talk about, like the SSG one, that you could just buy that, play Speed QB.
Well, I mean, look at rifles too. I mean, I know that's what you're getting into, but look at the rifles. Everybody was HPA rifle, HPA this, HPA that. I mean, look at it now. You're seeing a lot of guys go from HPA now to SSGs and DSGs. I mean, it because people are learning how to build them more reliable. And I mean, you know that firsthand. He does too. I mean, he's not running, you know, Ron, he's not running anything. You know, he's running, SSG? And he's running battery. Kyer, you know, he's running the same thing. He has an HPA, but...
Well, I was going to say, I'll add on to that. So, I'm still big on AEG, so I do love my AEG. I can still build it. And actually, I don't even have a SpeedQB AEG right now because I got the MTW, and I'm kind of sticking with that. One thing I loved about the HBA is anytime that it's time to play, I have it on the wall. And then when it's time to play, I put it in the bag.
Exactly.
And then when it's done, put it back on the wall. Where I felt like with the AEG, there's some maintenance on it, some carefulness. Like, you have to think about how you're running the AEG, I feel like. I know the best techs out there, especially if you buy a umbrella gun, you're like, I don't care, it's gonna run till it breaks. But when you build it, it's like, I feel like an engine that if you build a car engine, you still on the top of your head, it's like, what if that breaks right now? Can I really rev it to 8,000 RPMs? What if? And with HBA, it's like, whatever, I don't care. Nothing. pretty much nothing's gonna happen for the most part. So, but AEGs, man, I actually sold my AEG to a teammate of mine. He's still been.
He's hammering that thing, and it's going like it's going like it was just built. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
pros and cons to both sides. But the stereotype of you have to have HPA to play SpeakyB, no, it's not there.
I think, and that's the other thing I was gonna say is, what do you think it takes to? We're gonna go with what do you think it takes to play SpeakyB gun wise?
Just something, I would say something reliable. Whatever you're comfortable with, something reliable, and something, that's a little snappy. Not, your stock CM16 G&G Raider, your average rental gun. That's not going to cut it. You can play with it, and have fun with it, but ultimately you're going to be outgunned. I would say, just something, whether it's a pistol, rifle, shotgun, something you're comfortable working on, something you're comfortable upgrading, and something that's just a little bit snappy, but ultimately what's comfortable in your hands and on you.
Do you think there's a gun out there, and I think we've been talking about it, but do you think there's a gun out there you can just buy and play SpeakyB? We're going to go with competitively. We're not going to go with winning championships. We're going to go with just competitively.
As far as AEG or
AEG.
AEG, yeah. The Ronin line from KWA, personally, they come out with the Gate Titans, right out the get-go, they come out with the Gate Titan. But other than that, for me, personally, no. That's just my opinion, though. That's not right or wrong. That's just an opinion. What do you say, Ron?
Me personally, there's two guns. So the ARP9 from G&G, and then the SSG from G&G.
And he says 9, I think 5.56 as well. And
It's a little bit more, well, it's about $100 more expensive, and it's full metal, but the ARP9 is lighter. You can buy the classic Army X9 mags to get more BBs in the mag if you want, but that gun all around is a pretty good starter gun. I know this is going to be controversial, but pistol players, if you want to try pistol and you want something cheap, I say go AW Custom.
Do not do that from a pistol player.
I say go
not
AW
do
Custom.
that. If
Funny
you want to try out a high Kappa, buy a stock Tokyo Marui and run it till it falls apart.
That's what I'm saying, though, because right now, I know high cappers are in the $200 range, and if you want to try it out, you can get an AW Custom for like $100.
Don't listen to him. Buy a stock TM.
what's funny about all that is I'm not a pistol player. As if you haven't got to this point, I mainly do rifles. What's funny is we laugh about it because we just talked about it when we last played at Battle Cat. So I do rifles. Daquan does rifle. He does pistols for the most part on the team. When we go to public, I run pistol. Daquan runs pistol. He runs rifle. It's like okay, I'm done with playing it like that. We're gonna get something different. It seems like every time we play public play, we grab the other type of gun. But my pistol is an AW custom frame with a TM slider. So slide, whatever. Sorry.
Making burgers. Nah, his gun, I helped him do it. It's a stock TM lower or stock AW lower with a upgraded spring, upgraded inner barrel, and all that on a stock TM slide.
It's heavy as I think it's as heavy as my AEG. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It's heavy as crap. But you know what? It's lasted 2 years, and it works. But he is. I do lean more with Ron because now I'm talking about stock. You buy the AW custom, you don't do anything with it, you play with it, you like it, or you don't.
Upgrade it. I'm just saying, if you want to try out running pistol, AW custom. If you're gonna build one, if you like it, go ahead and buy the TM and then upgrade it. But if you just want to start out and want to try it out, I think go AW custom.
Maybe, if you have any either extra money or no, I'm going to build it, or you do like it, and they say, hey, I do like the AW, I do like playing with a pistol, then go get a TM on top of it. I don't think upgrading an AW custom is good, and I'm sure you'll vouch for that.
Oh, 100%. AW is trash. Don't buy an AW. Buy a TM. Don't even waste your money. If you buy an AW, you're going to have a horrible pistol experience. Buy a TM, and I promise you'll love it.
What does it take to go from so we were just talking about getting a regular stock. I'm going with AEG because what we're going to lead into is getting into HBA stuff. It's a huge bunch of money to get into HBA starting off. So how much of the AEG do you invest in before, all right, flip over, let's go HBA? How much do you think you can get by with? I'm thinking motor, even motor and a battery.
I mean, if you're getting like a ARP9 or something, just get a motor battery. Yeah, just motor.
I
Battery,
always
that's it.
tell everybody if you when you're first upgrading anything, it don't matter if it's a pistol, rifle, anything, hop up, inner barrel, and bucking.
Forgot hop up, but arrow.
You-
Yeah, yeah,
you
definitely.
do those
100%.
three things, your gun's gonna be a lot more accurate. You're gonna like yourself a little bit more and not question whether you're hitting. After that, I would go to motor and gears. That's me personally. On my AUs.
Gears, I think, is a gentle stretch. So if you have any experience, not any experience, if you have experience where you can build a gun or know somebody that can build a gun properly, then yes, 100%. Gears are $30 for a set of gears. I definitely get a new piston because I know the ARPs are using a one metal tooth piston, so I definitely say get a new piston, and definitely a motor, and then you'll be set, and you're under $100. But if you have no experience with messing with a gun, do not touch it.
We have a player on our team that is a bad habit of that, and I'm sorry if you're watching this, but he has a bad habit of teching on his stuff, and let's just say it's broke a lot. I'm gonna say that, but I'm not gonna put his name in here.
Yeah, it don't touch it if you don't know what you're doing. Here's how I learned. I'm a lot better now. I'm not gonna say I am the mad scientist when it comes to building guns because there's a lot of things I gotta learn. There's a lot of things I gotta get better at. But I can build a gun, and I've built several of them that have been very successful. So I'm happy with them. But how I got started was I had my ARP, my 5.56. Actually, backtrack. I had my Avalon that I used for a while, and I thought it was time to put my Titan gate in it, and I also had the 5.56. So I had a good gun that was stock with no problems with it, and then I had my Avalon. So then I took the Avalon apart, took out what I needed to put the Titan gate in, didn't touch nothing, gently put it back. So yes, I got to change some parts. Yes, I got to technically tech on my gun, but worst case that can happen, I have my 5.56. I think anybody that doesn't know anything about their gun and is teching on their own gun with the only gun they got is not smart.
Exactly, and a prime example of that was we have some OG TRDs that were on the team, and they decided they wanted to do some trigger mods at home. So they took their guns apart.
Hold on, I'm sorry. You don't need to get a trigger with a
speed your gun up.
stock parts to speed your gun up.
So
Don't do it.
anyways, they go home. They're trying to, bend their trigger springs, get a little bit of a snappier, shorter trigger pull, which, like Kyra said, you don't have to do that. It's not going to speed your gun up. But anyways, they went and got all that. They go home, take them apart. Next thing we know, gearboxes are exploded in 2 ARP9s. Come back over to Kyra's house tomorrow. They bring their stuff over in these plastic bags, and Kyra sits up here for about 2 hours putting these guns back together.
They handed me a bag with parts in it and a gun that's a part and said, I messed up. So we had to fix it. And crap happens. Like I said, it wasn't a big deal.
Bottom line is, don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy. And that's where we were talking about the gears. I think gears is a cheap, easy way to upgrade. Yes, SHS is the gears we're talking about, 13-to-1, 12-to-1s. Even I put a 16-to-1 set in one, and I got it with the motor I put in. I put a Tinley 45K motor in it with 16-to-1 gears, and I was shooting about 41 rounds a second, and it was very, very snappy. So yes, I think gears are the best way to go if you can do it. But if you can't, taking a factory stock motor of a 25K and just putting a 45K in there, instantly great. What's your thoughts, Ron? I know I got in a rant. I get hyped up, man, when people start messing with the stuff.
Yeah, I think 18-to-1s are fine. You can get them shooting snappy, especially for speed QB, because you're doing only semi. There's no full auto. So a motor upgrade, like Hunter said, barrel bucking, hop up, you should be set. That's all you need. That's all you really need.
The crazy part is in which I've seen before, and I've heard it a lot, and I had to experience myself to actually. I feel like I had to cross over that threshold. Is when you can start building guns, it's how fast can I build it? I want 70 rounds a second. I just want to build it. But then in Speed QB, you still have the same concept, but then you realize that it doesn't matter how fast it's shooting. It just needs to be quick. It needs to be snappy. So then you go from putting these fast gears in it to putting a fast gear with a high torque motor. So it's not shooting as fast no more, but it's a lot more snappy. And you have to like mentally get over that bridge of, okay, I made it fast. Now let's make it better. You have to like go over that him.
Make it accurate.
Make it yeah, I keep forgetting about the accuracy. Accuracy is a huge thing, especially SpeakQB, because I can tell we can tell you from first experience on the we've played. I'm going to consider as professional players. Definition of professional is getting paid for it, and these people have won championships, have won money, and
They're cracked.
dude, if you pop your head around for just a split second just to see if your mom is in the corner, you're gonna get shot. And that's what was going on. And so in these situations, you get one chance to shoot a BB. You need to make sure it's on point. And using the factory stuff is not going to do it. So I guess that leads. So once you get, if you have a stock gun, AEG, you got your motor. If you can do gears, definitely hop up and barrel. At that point, do you just give up, put it as a side gun, and hop up to HBA, or do you go full blast?
That's personal preference, man. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody you have, like we said earlier, you don't have to have HBA to play SpeakQB. You know, if you get bored with your guns, get bored with AG, sure, jump in, try HBA, something new, something fun. But, you know, if you're happy with your gun and it's doing well, you know, you don't have to buy HBA. That's just my thoughts on it. You know, you don't have to have it.
So the one downfall for anybody that's out there that's actually gonna watch this and listen to this, and I say this lightly, but to get into HBA, there's more stuff. With AEG, you charge your battery and you're pretty much good to go. Other than obviously the gun's built. With HBA, you got to have a tank on you. You have to have your line. Have to have regulator, the backpack, obviously. Stuff like that. There's a lot more expenses that go into it, not just the gun. Like, you need the gun built and then these extra stuff. So there is a huge jump. There is a lot of reliability behind it. And once you have the stuff, for the most part, then you can just buy random guns and you'll be good. But getting that first leap of getting all the stuff for HBA is kind of expensive. And we all had to make it as a team because we decided that AEG is not the way to go. We all need HBA. And I was happy to do it. Now that I know, I didn't have to. But I am happy that I did it. So, all right, pistols, because I don't know pistols at all, but I do want to ask. Let's say you have a stock TM. We won't go Glock, but because Glocks are a little harder to get, is my understanding. At least a real TM is. But TM 5.1. What do you need to put into it to be competitive? Do you think you could be competitive with a stock one?
Absolutely. You know, I think you can easily. I always tell everybody, you know, everybody always gets these high kappas, and I'm like a lot of the other guys, you know, that are big into pistols. You don't have to upgrade that thing, you know, right out the box. Run that thing till it breaks. When stuff breaks, replace it. But if you're one of those guys, you know, you have to replace something. Honestly, get the gun. If you're gonna run green, let's just put it out there. You're running green gas. Okay, we're not going HPA. You know, it's a little different, obviously. Say you're running green gas, barrel, hop up, bucking. Have fun. I mean, you know, that's all you got to do. You don't have to have the short strokes. You don't have to have the springs. I mean, you know, springs will wear down eventually. I'd upgrade them whenever they, you know, they
The short
wear
strokes
down.
are cheap, though, aren't they?
Super cheap. You know, they're just going to make it a little bit snappier, cycle faster. But, you know, honest to God, all you really need in one is a barrel, bucking, and hop up, because it's just going to increase your accuracy.
I know that's the only thing about pistols, man, is parts are expensive. Other than, like, yeah, again, bushings and stuff like that. But, man, the barrel, $100. Slide, $200, $150. Blowback housing, $80.
Yeah, I mean, you can easily go into it. You know, I've built 5.1s that are considered sleepers, or 4.3s, which is you know, basically everything done on the inside. I'll have, you know, maybe $300 in it. You know, and then 5.1s I built, you know, just standard 5.1s. I'll have, you know, about $600 in slides, everything, triggers, you know, all that. You know, you can even step up into my 6-inch that I had, the hybrid. I mean, you know, if you've done that kit all the way out, I mean, you're looking at easy $800-900 or more.
You see some of these cats with like $1,200 pistols.
Exactly. You know, you don't have to have all that. I mean,
No.
it's going to lead into that way. It always does, because, you know, you want it custom. You want to be the cool guy. You know, it always goes that way, but you don't have to have that.
Pistols, I will say, that's one thing I do love about pistols, and I don't even have a good one, but there's a lot more customization in a pistol. A lot more. Like, yeah, you can customize a rifle. You can hydro dip it, spray paint it, get custom rails and stuff like that. And it's nice and fancy, but a pistol feels like it's yours, 100%. That's your custom pistol. That's the one thing I always loved about pistols.
Yeah, I mean, there's endless options from color combinations. The way you set your pistol up. It's like my Glock. My Glock. It's an all-black Glock. Glock 17 with 34 inner barrel. I know we said we weren't talking about Glocks, but I'm gonna keep stressing that Glocks are good, man. If you can get a hold of the TM Glocks. But we'll jump back to the 5.1s. But like even my high cappers, I always enjoyed having this like one slide that was red. It wasn't a common slide. Sure, red is common and everything, but that one slide they didn't make a ton of red. So I had that one. I loved it. It's just crazy. A lot of guys say they like pistols because you can. I know this sounds weird, but you can somewhat express yourself in a pistol. You can go as far as doing like a Joker one. You can go as far as doing a Deadpool one. You can describe things you like in the design of your pistol. If you're just simple and classic, you can keep it, solid blacks. You can do black and gold, black and silver. The color combinations are endless. And,
What about you, Ron?
Oh, as far as like, what do you need for a pistol?
Mm-hmm.
Not much. Like he said, the pistol I run is pretty much stock, other than like a blowback housing and barrel and stuff like that. But I mean, it's stock. It's ran on HPA, so I don't run it on a high PSI. But it's stock. It works fine.
What's the bonus of going to HBA compared to green gas? I know you were just talking about earlier that a lot of people are going back to green gas. What?
On my high kappa, I ran HPA just because, we're in the South. It does get colder. Green gas doesn't like cold weather as much. It's a plug and play. As long as your seals are right on your valves, you're not going to have leakage. You're not going to have any of that. You can get a little bit more of a hotter round, per se, coming out of there. It can be humping a little bit more. But the downside to it is you do have to upgrade a lot more, in my opinion, on the inside of the gun, as far as like, blowback housings, nozzles, springs, guide rods. You need to do a lot of stuff like that to take the HPA. Ultimately, when you build your high kappa, even with green gas or HPA, you want it as light as possible. That's why you're swapping out, you're getting rid of the blowback unit that weighs like 5 pounds and swapping it with like an AIP or a AIrsoft Masterpiece blowback unit, because it's a lot lighter. Same way with the guide rod, you're going from a steel, it depends if you're running HPA or green gas, you're going from a steel guide rod to an aluminum guide rod. You want it as light as possible because it helps with gas efficiency. So,
So what's your thoughts on the plastic is what I'm getting at, but not just the regular plastic, the custom plastic. What's it called?
Talking about 3D printing?
3D printing. That's what I'm sorry. Yeah, I couldn't think of it.
Not a fan of it, just personally.
Do you think it's ever going to come around where it's solid? Because I know in the beginning everybody was all about it because it was quick, easy, fast, cheap, and everybody loved it, but it kept having so many problems. Do you think, just like all kinds of technology, it'll come around eventually, or do you think it's just metal's the way to go?
It's possible. I think it's possible. Anything's possible. I'm not going to say no, not going to say yeah, but it's possible.
Now, I wasn't steering away from the Glocks. I just know Glocks are a little harder to get, but why Glock? Why Glock? Why would you choose a Glock over a 5.1?
Simple. I've had a 6-inch 5.1 that I, hybrid kit, full everything done to it. I thought it was, top of the line, as accurate as it could get. You take a stock TM Glock, it's retarded accurate, just out of the box. You upgrade it, it's even better. But the downside to a Glock is not only are they hard to find, parts are a little bit more expensive generally. They're harder to find. And
harder to work on too, aren't they?
A whole lot. That's what I was getting into. You got the 5. Let's take the 5.1. The best way I explain it to people is your 5.1 is like your modern day car. Parts are easy to find. A lot of people know how to work on them. Your Glock is like your old school hot rod. Not many people know how to work on them. You got to be selective on who does work on them, and parts are harder to find for them. If you don't mind those type of things, and you don't mind learning something a little bit more, involved as far as even the blowback unit or the trigger unit, the whole, the spring housing, all the hammer housing, all that stuff. If you don't mind learning all that, then I would say Glock. But if you're looking for the easy way out, what's real simple to work on, simple to upgrade, simple to find parts for, TM 5.1 all day.
What you? Because I know you had a Glock for a while, but it wasn't a TM Glock.
That's because I didn't build it.
It was a Army Glock. It's very popular overseas. I'm pretty much the unorthodox guy. I do not do what everybody else does. I like to
That
explore.
is the truth. It's not always a bad thing, but it's definitely
If
different.
they sell it on Amazon, this guy will get it.
Yeah, I mean, I just like to see what else is out there, because a lot of stuff a lot of people have, but some of the stuff you have to go looking for. A lot of the big companies don't make it, so I kind of look for the smaller companies, see what they have to offer. But I mean, Glocks are good; they are very accurate. Me personally, I'm gonna cop out to the TM because it's easy to work on. I mean the 5.1.
So airsoft. Well, actually, before I get into that, I was gonna get some more general questions. I wanted to ask you so that way they all know, where did TROD come from? Is it what? How do you prefer? I've never actually asked you this. What do you prefer to be called? Because everybody says TROD, which is weird. Why they separate the T, but why?
Personally, I would say T-Rod or Trod, either one, or TROD. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. If you're going to look at it the way you just said it, T-Rod, separating the T. I don't think that's a bad thing because we're a team. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's a bad thing.
How to get started?
Well, the funny story is, and like it's a long story, but we'll shorten it, into a time-consuming manner. Me and my now fiance's brother, which is Zane, we was watching, Demo. We found him on, YouTube. It's cool, all this and that. So we decided, he's like, well, hey, he got into airsoft. I've always been into it. I got him into it. I was like, yo, Zane, let's start an airsoft team. He was like, all right, let's do it. What do we name it? So yeah, we just left it, And one night I was sitting there, I was thinking, like SpeedQB is what we're wanting to do, or SpeedSoft at the time, not as much SpeedQB. You're rushing and all this and that. And I was literally just sitting there and I was like, what can you add? Rush or die? And I was like, that sounds good. So I sent him a message. I was like, Zane, how does rush or die sound? He was like, that sounds good. So here we are today, but we added TROD instead of ROD like we originally started. Now it's Team Rush or Die.
Gotcha.
That is the very short version. Let's put it that way.
Okay. What I wanted to lead into to kind of finish it up is, where do you think airsoft's going? And I know airsoft's been growing a lot. I mean, just the guns these guys are coming out with, the technology's just getting put into these guns is just incredible. And I guess I'm mainly leaning into the SpeedQB or SpeedSoft side because there's been some complications in it very recently. Obviously, SpeedQB, SpeedSoft in general is, I don't want to use the word toxic. The problem is what kind of you described before is these younger kids, the only thing they see and understand is run really fast, shoot really hard, shoot really fast. And if that's your only mindset, is where it comes with all the bad things about SpeedSoft, which is not even the fact. We joke about it all the time when we do these events. We didn't get to hear personally, but from the field we were working with, that we heard that kids mainly, but people weren't showing up because they were afraid that they were going to get lit up, is the phrase, that they were going to get shoot 100 times at 400 FPS and this, that, whatever. And I get hurt 10 times more in public play in one match than I do ever playing SpeedQB.
Oh, 100%. I'll come home from public play with 100, 200 welts on me, because the kids they just overshoot like crazy. But in SpeedSoft, I come home with welts, but it's nothing like it's nothing like public play. I think the most I've ever got shot in SpeedSoft took like 4 rounds, but 2 of them was probably my fault because I stepped the wrong way. I stepped into it, but I mean, I've never been just like peppered.
The funny thing about that though is the people that are saying that are the people that don't show up, and the people that don't show up to the SpeedQB events are the people that are lighting other people up in public play.
Amen. Spoken from a true believer right there.
It's crazy how, they can say that, but then do exactly what they're scared of to other people in public play. So
what's your thoughts? I'm going to throw a huge curveball here because I want to continue, but things are rattling in my mind. So there is fields coming out, and there's fields that's been out there for a while, specifically 413, that has their version of SpeedSoft. It literally says SpeedSoft, but they call it Splash Soft. Is that right?
yeah.
What's your thoughts about it? Because it's the idea of the 5-on-5, I think, is still there. I think it's still 5-on-5, but they are a lot different. The rules I haven't seen before in any SpeedQB or SpeedSoft arena. What's your thoughts?
In a nice way, I won't play it. Just leave it at that. It's not for me.
No,
I don't even have to play. I just have to hear the rules and see the field. It's not for me.
there's a lot of people, and it kind of leans to what you're saying is the people that don't want to play are the ones that are overshooting everything. It's perfect. You're 100% right, and it seems like they catered to those people saying, "Oh, that it's back and forth." They don't want you. They cater to the people that says, "Well, I hate rules," which yeah, nobody really cares for the rules, but the rules are to keep everything fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Having an unlimited shot with an open trigger and all these kind of crazy rules, I don't see where the fun in it.
You're asking to get peppered, and somebody get hurt, somebody get mad. It's just asking for it.
Yeah, I mean, I hate. I'm not trying to knock any field, and I'm not trying to knock what they do. I hope it works because airsoft in general needs all the help they can get. Because obviously we're the flip side of paintball. Paintball, I think, is for what it is very successful and pretty locked on. Airsoft is still growing and is still trying to get some traction. I believe. I think it's got a lot more traction in the last couple of years, but I feel like this last year was pretty rough for airsoft. So any help I think is big. But that aspect of it is not what Speedsoft was, I think, originally for. And what they're creating is a different version of it, which if that's what you want to do, it is what it is. I understand. I know that's something that we probably won't participate in. I'm willing to play anything just because I'm excited in anything I do. This is the same thing with it racing. I'll go to all different tracks, even tracks that I don't really like. I go there for the competition. But knowing in the back of my mind that I probably want to have fun. I said because what kind of rules they have, it's just not for me. And again, I'm not trying to knock anything. It's just not for me, not for us, on what we're looking like. But I wanted to see what your thoughts are on it. So I guess the main question I was leading into is where do you think airsoft is going? Do you think it's still climbing? Do you think it's still got a lot of traction, or do you think it's getting a little rough right now?
2020 has been a rough year, period. It's hard to make a call from this year. You know, if I was making a call on a lot of things this year, I'd say everything's going downhill. But if you're taking this year out and we're just looking at previous years, I'd say it's going up. Of course, it's going to have its times where it's getting stagnant, getting stale. I mean, that's just any hobby, any industry, any type of competitive sport you play. It's going to have its ups and downs, but it's just a matter of if airsoft, when it has those downs, can they climb back up? And, you know, at the rate the SpeedQB guys are going, you know, trying to promote and grow airsoft in a competitive aspect like speedball and paintball, if they keep it going and keep their heads right, then I would say yes, it's 100% going up. You know, if we didn't have the SpeedQB, I think a lot of the kids still be in Milsim. And the Milsim sides, I mean, it's strong. I mean, Milsim's 100%. They're locked in. That ain't going nowhere. But
I think Milsim. So they have in paintball. I think it's because I don't know paintball real well, but Milsim in paintball is called woods ball, right?
Yeah.
to an extent, yeah.
So, but I think that you can't create the same military as Milsim. I feel like the Milsim and paintball and airsoft. Airsoft's Milsim is 10 times better than what paintball is in Milsim.
Correct.
But I think on the flip side, which is we're going to Speedsoft paintball is a lot better than paintball or than airsoft.
I mean, in that defense, speedball's been around a lot longer. Because I mean, I was 8 or 9 playing speedball. So I mean, you know, speed QB to an extent, from my knowledge, has only been around for maybe 3-4 years. As far as the playing, I think it's been around longer, but it didn't really get popular till about 3 or 4 years ago, I would say, or at least for us, because that's when SS Airsoft brought in the Speed QB field. But you know, who knows where it'll be in another 5 or 10 years? I hope it's knocking on the door right there with speedball. That's what I hope. But again, you don't know.
So the one thing I do see, which yes, the big thing on paintball everybody talks about is why they like paintball is because when you get hit, it splatters. I understand this.
Oh man, you wipe the paint. Come on.
Well, that's what I was going to lead into.
Everybody
Is
knows that.
in any real paintball competitions, there's how many refs? Like what, 10, 12?
There's a bunch. Yeah.
A ton. So, and I think we're SpeedQB, Speedsoft, or any type related to it. Everybody gets a bad SpeedQB, Speedsoft gets a bad rap of people being cheating. Cheaters are called all the time in paintball. All the time in paintball.
That's because the ref can see the splat.
That's true. They're still their job is to find it, and that's why they have to check. If they don't see it, then technically clear. But they are looking for the splat. But I think kind of big curveball back in the beginning where we were joking about Ron cheating. I think cheating is always a big thing of Speedsoft. That there's a bunch of cheaters out there. That's where the toxic's from and everything like that. And I don't have yes, you don't want cheating. Cheating definitely ruins the whole aspect of it. But I do not blame 100% on the player at all. I I'll go even 40%. And I know that's pretty low. You guys might disagree. And I think it's pretty low. But I blame 40% on the player and 60% on the field. Because I think the judging, the refs, and all that to control it, to host it, is what can make a game great or bad.
It's hard. I would say it's a little more both sides than one. When somebody gets hit in airsoft, you can see it. They flinch, they twitch, they jump. I mean, you see it. I mean, you know they're there. But also a tiny BB going humping at 400 feet per second is super hard to keep up with. We're not looking at, if you add the tracer aspect and you got a stream of BBs coming, which is most of the case how it works, it's a lot easier to call. I mean, a ref should, in theory, be able to see a glowing green BB spanking off of somebody's mask, off their body, mixed with the twitching. Yeah, they should be able to catch it. But I do know it's hard to catch it. But, I mean, it all boils down to it's a pride issue. When people cheat, man, it's a pride issue. And I give people the benefit of the doubt that sometimes you don't feel it. You get humped in that pack. You get humped in the battle belts, or you get popped in something like that. You're
in
not
the
gonna
shoe.
feel it. In the shoe, yeah. This past game, I got hit in the. Look, we ain't gonna get to that. Hunter got hit in the back of the shoe. Somehow, I got hit in the back of the shoe, on the bottom of my shoe. But we'll go with it. I mean, you don't feel those, so I give the player credits for those. If that's the case, look, man, no harm done. It's an honest mistake. So I don't know. It's tough to say.
I think that and again, like I said, I'm leaning more on the official side, which I know is hard to do because you're right, 100% right, that all these BBs are going extremely fast, they're extremely small. So I get all that, but I do see, like you said, that you can usually, if I'm watching you, and you're getting shot at, you're gonna see pretty much when you get hit. But that's if I'm looking at you. If you're trying to watch a field, that's a huge different aspect because you got how many people, how many corners, how many areas. There's a lot to look at. So I think it's something that hopefully the airsoft community can maybe step up in situations like that. But when big events going on, I know what they did, and this might be a stretch, but what they did back in the day for softball. My dad used to do softball. That they were, and even volleyball, they were in rotation. That if a team, if you're not playing, you were scheduled to ref. And I'm not saying that they should ref the whole thing by themselves, but I think that maybe it's an idea to add more referees to the whole field, that you have your regular guys that are supposed to be there from the facility, but then adding more people to it might help. I mean,
but that could also turn into a dirty situation fast. If a team doesn't like you and they end up reffing your game, hey, this guy's getting hit, you may never got hit. They just don't want to meet you in the finals.
That's true, 100%.
And there's no way to prove that guy was lying.
Agreed. So how would you recommend? I do agree, and you're 100% right. But what I'm trying to think is, you can't add more. I can't say, hey, facility, add 10 more people. He can't find them. Nobody's going to want to show up. He's got to hire more people, tell them to show up, tell them to watch. So it's going to be super hard. Is there any recommendations that you have to help with that?
Other than adding, more bodies on the field? Not really. I don't. It's a tough situation, maybe for the field to watch the GoPros from the players a little bit more instead of just blowing it off. Because, a lot of times it's easy for us to catch the cheating on the GoPro and, all that the ref may not be catching. Maybe if that's the case, the player get a little bit more of a understanding. I don't know, man. It's a tough call.
So the one thing that hit me pretty hard was a couple months ago. I want to consider good friends with the team SYG. We're friends with them, acquaintances. What would you consider us with SYG?
Close with them, man.
Okay, that's and the one thing one of their main players, Roy, they were helping host an event, and we were talking to them about cheating and discussion and stuff like that. And the one thing he said to us today, hey, if you have it, send it to me. I want to review it. I was like, okay, yeah, definitely. He goes, but I want to see the BB. And I was like, well, I'm gonna send it to you. I can see it. He goes, I don't want to see 50% or 70%. I want to see the BB hit him. And that's the thing, and it's really hard to see. Like, I can't say that my GoPro shot that I'm shooting across the arena that, oh yeah, I definitely hit that guy in the corner. You cannot see the BB bounce off the guy.
That's why we're going to invest in zoom cams, baby.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you. So I think that's the other thing is I think GoPros 100% that if there is a discussion needs to be made, whether if somebody got called and you're trying to defend yourself or you're trying to make a call, that I think refs should take into huge consideration of GoPros or video cameras or any type of visual answers. But on the flip side to the player, that it's got to be evident. You can't go, yes, I shot in that direction and he dodged left or whatever. You got to see the BB. So I think both sides of it. And that was the one thing that he really, when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, I could see it. And then I really looked at it. I have all the production stuff in the world to make videos and look at videos and stuff like that. I can slow it to 0.25 and it disappears. At some point in time, you can't see it no more.
And that's one thing, Roy was telling me. I have a lot of respect for him. I mean, he's guided me a lot along the way. And his one big thing was, sometimes people will call cheats just because they're mad because they lost, little things like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why he was saying, I got to see the BB bounce off. He's not saying we're whining. He's not saying anything like that. Mm-hmm. He just wants to know if he makes that call, that there's no doubt in his mind that it was the right call. And, Roy's real understanding, even Dennis at SS, I mean, he's no different. If you got it, he wants to see it. He don't put up with it, so, I mean, I think they're doing a really good job. I think for what they've got to work with, and from my experiences on SpeedQB fields, which is only 2, SS is killing it. Mm-hmm.
I think the big thing I love about SS is how much they're promoting it. The facility we were working with, they did promote it, but we always had the aspect of, and we knew it, we understood that it wasn't, in this area, it wasn't their forte. It wasn't what they had going on. It wasn't their crowd coming in. But where SS, they know that there's a sense of people coming in looking for it, and so they're poking out. They're saying, hey, you want to play SpeedQB? We got the field for you.
They're promoting it right, too. I mean, they've got people coming from 8, 9 hours away to come play. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've got it going on down there, and that's the thing. They're promoting it in the right way as it's a fun sport and it's something fun that people will want to come and do. So people are coming that far to do it. If you promote it right, I mean, you could have people. We could have had everybody coming down this way from Georgia. Who knows? So.
I agree. I think promoting it, how you promote it, can make a big aspect, and that's one thing that Steve and Dennis do really, really well is how they promote SS, who they reach out to, how big they make it. Shoot, I mean, it really, really sucks on what the 10-year turned out to be.
And could have been.
I
mean, I was pumped, man. I was hyped for it, man. I mean, we set up at the 9-year. We done a booth, and it was probably some of the most fun I've ever had. Mm-hmm. And then the 10-year, from what I seen in the emails that was coming out there, what they was doing, who was coming out there. I mean, God, it would have been a hoot, But
I want to go to those
COVID,
the Oregon Expo. Is that what
Winter
it was?
Expo.
Winter Expo in Oregon.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I heard's big. Obviously, California got all their big events. Just to see what we're doing in Georgia, I can only imagine what they're doing over there. And that's where events like that, I'm sure, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of effort. But stuff like that is, I think, what really grows the sport and gets everybody excited about it.
And in our area, SS is the only one making those efforts to grow it. They're doing something right. That's all I can say. Obviously they are. They're bringing people from California. They're coming from all over to Georgia. Mm-hmm. Georgia, man. I mean, guys in California are coming to Georgia. So I mean, they're doing something right, and he's got it going on, and he's doing a lot of good for the sport. So I'm all behind him.
All right, guys. Well, again, like I always say, I really appreciate you coming on. This episode is, again, like I talked about, the Man Cave Hobby Show. It's going over all kinds of hobbies. I've already done fishing. I'm going to be doing hunting soon. I did a dock diving Doberman, which was awesome. I haven't aired it yet, but I got a lot of things coming in. But
shark fishing
coming soon. maybe I heard even dirt bikes might even be showing up. So I don't know, but we'll see. But I got a lot of episodes in the books, but airsoft, there's going to be definitely more of this. There's a lot of more discussions. Again, we got friends in California and in different places that I'd like to bring on the show, get their answers on it, get their aspects. I want to get all the answers in every type of hobby there is out there. If you got a hobby that you think would be cool to talk about, hit me up. I'd love to kind of go over it with you. But we are going to be talking about airsoft a lot more. So, but as for today, we're going to hit it up. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Peace.
Mhm.